Alrighty, welcome. I believe this is going to be about week 6. We're covering the leadership education portion of this third quarter. It's going to be Unit 4, Chapter 6, which is the Foundations of United States Citizenship. One of the goals we have in ROTC is not to recruit you, not to make you go in the Air Force, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, but one of the big goals is to develop American citizenship of character. So this is an essential part of any kind of first year ROTC course. And so we're going to be going over things such as the American flag, the Constitution of the United States, civics, the Bill of Rights, the United States government, and comparing systems of government. So in this third quarter, depending on how our schedule goes, you'll probably have a test at least on the first 3 of those lessons, the flag and symbols, civics, and the Constitution of the United States. I need you guys to ask questions because you guys should have been getting this stuff in other classes such as U.S. history, but we just want to polish off some of your interest in this. Let's see here. Did I have the show content? Am I showing content back there? Y'all see that? Okay. So those are our chapter overview. As you can see, we're going to be going over the American flag and the history of it. Has anybody ever heard of America's creed? What's a creed?
Saying some sort of writing.
What's a creed?
Some sort of rules or guidelines.
Kind of like their pride.
Their pride? How about that's true? And sort of rules. It's sort of what you believe in. Have you ever heard of an airman's creed? What's an airman's creed? No, not an assassin's creed. That helps out a lot.
That's the first thing that we do.
Airman's creed, staff. Here is the airman's creed. Okay? Someone read that to me. Cadet Johnson. Can you read it from there?
I'm an American airman. I am a warrior. I have answered my nation's call. I am American airman.
I am.
My mission is to fly, fight, and win. I am faithful and proud. I am faithful to a proud heritage, a tradition of honor, and a legacy of valor. I am an American airman, guardian of freedom and justice. My nation's sword and shield, its century and avenger. I defend my country with my life. I am American airman, wingman, leader, warrior. I will never leave an airman behind. I will never falter, and I will not fail.
So that's a creed. The fact that it's what you believe in. It's what some of your goals are. Okay. Is everybody here in Sal? You remember that? I think y'all just inspired me. Oh no, everybody says. I think I'm going to make everybody memorize that.
Oh, no. Don't do sounds that. Like fun. No. That sounds like fun.
Why don't we create an ASLA creed?
Oh, sir, we're coming up with with an entire ASLA Jody.
An ASLA Jody.
It's sort of like a creed. It rhymes, though.
Is there an Army creed?
There's a soldier's creed.
There's a soldier's creed. I'm an American soldier. Am I going to read that?
I am an American soldier. I am a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained, and proficient in my something drills. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert, and I am a professional. I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier.
Those are cool. I like that. I think you guys just inspired me. Thank you for doing that. That was really good. I'm going to do something with that. So
now let's look at the Assassin's Creed.
No, we don't want assassins. I'm an assassin. I like to hang by myself and get PTSD and be messed up the rest of my life. It's not what the Assassin's Creed. It's not what Hollywood says. Okay. Okay, we're going to go over civics and talking about civics and what it's like to be a good citizen. What are our responsibilities? What are the functions of government? We're going to talk about the Constitution of the United States, the articles, the main parts. This should be a review for you guys because I think, didn't y'all go over this in 8th grade? The Constitution of the United States? Or 9th? Or
yes, sir.
You guys are sort of young and old. How about in U.S. history? Do you guys go over the Constitution, U.S. history?
Yes, sir.
Right? Jared, you take U.S. history. Y'all go to the Constitution, sort of?
Little, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll go over it a little bit more. Okay? Bill of Rights, rather important. This kind of distinguishes us from other countries in the world, literally. So you can say what is good or what is bad about America. Why do we lead the world? This might be the reason. Yes.
We actually got our Bill of Rights from England, from English Bill of Rights.
We did. We got a lot of stuff from England. Did we all hear yesterday when he was going over the organization of the army and he covered the quartermaster? What is a quartermaster?
Someone who takes control of all the equipment, I guess.
He counts the quarters. I mean, he counts the quarters. He masters the quarters, right? I'm just kidding. No. No, a quartermaster is logistics. It's equipment. It's every beans and bullets, you know. But that's an English term, okay? We're going to compare the systems of government. We're going to see how is our government different than Cuba? How does our government different from Canada or England? That's a good question. What is our legislative body here in America? What is that? What governs America in our legislative body?
Executive, judicial, and legislative.
Exactly. Those are the 3 parts of the government. But what is the legislative? Who is that?
The Senate.
The Senate and House of Representatives. How many do we have?
2.
100 senators. And how many House of Representatives do we have?
400.
425? So, okay. How do we get there? Can you be a senator?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you be a House of Representative?
Yes.
How do you get there?
You work your way up from local office and just kind of...
You just walk in there and say, I want to do it. How do you get there?
Voted in.
You got to be elected, right? You're going to be voted in. England, that's called a bicameral.
Bicameral, yes, sir.
Yeah. A government. What about in England? What kind of government do they have?
Bicameral.
A what now?
Monarchy.
Monarchy, true, but they do have representatives. And they have 2 different parties. One, Parliament, exactly. One is the House of Lords, and one's the House of Commons. We sort of stole that. That's right. There's more commoners than there are lords. Well, how do you get in the House of Commons?
You gotta be common.
You got to be common. They're voted in, just like our House of Representatives. What about the House of Lords? How do you become a lord?
You have to be Christ.
You have to be a Christ. No, there's not that many Christ in England. How do you become in the House of Lords?
You have to own land? Is how it was.
You have to own land, but when? Probably back in 1200. You have to be voted in the House of Commons. You have to be born into the House of Lords. So you would think in any country in the world that we're a lot like, you'd think it'd be a lot like England. But if that were the case, you would have to be voted to be in one house and born into the other. So that's kind of different. Yes, we're a lot like England, but yes, we're a lot different than England. Okay. American flag. We got to learn the basics here. When do you salute during the playing of the national anthem?
During the playing of the national anthem.
Or when it passes you in a parade. If y'all are in our parades, we walk down the streets of Prescott, everybody's sitting down, and when y'all bring that huge flag by, it's very interesting. 7 years ago when I started this place, and you guys were still in diapers, just kidding, very few people stood up when a flag came by in Prescott. Very few. But now, when we're there and you guys are looking sharp, we had, 187 people doing this for the Christmas parade. the people stand. There's a wave of people standing when you guys walk through with the color guard and then the cadet corps and then the big huge flag. I mean, you have taught 7 years of people proper courtesy for the American flag. It's pretty neat. This has sort of changed lately. One thing that's really interesting you guys need to be aware of is when you have the American flag and we're saying the Pledge of Allegiance, like we do at the beginning of each class, you guys put your hands over your heart, which is perfectly fine. As a veteran, I am allowed to salute the flag anytime, any place. And that's kind of a way of knowing the difference between a veteran and a non-veteran. Non-veterans arm flag by putting the arm, but you'll see a lot of veterans saluting the flags, even indoor now. All righty, we go over the history of the flag, the symbolism, proper way to show respect for the flag. You guys talked about this, Pledge of Allegiance, Flag Day, and the Great Seal. What is the Great Seal of America?
The eagle, the olive branch,
there you go.
And the arrows.
Sort of like our ASLA flag. You know that most junior ROTCs do not have flags. I invented that because I knew that we needed something like it. It's pretty good that we have that. All righty. History of the American flag. Who made the first American flag?
Like 16-year-old, I think she was.
A 16-year-old?
Yeah, for a class project.
For a fifth-year-old class, 10-year-old class project. Who made the American flag? In your book. Look in your back. Is that true?
Yes.
We don't know. Actually, the reason we know her name is, believe it or not, her grandchild told the story of her grandmother getting the order from the founders of the country. And as a matter of fact, it even says there, page 259 on the right, William Canby, grandson, brought her to public attention. And
they called the flag with the stars arranged in a circle the Betsy Ross flag.
Yes, and so he, as the grandson, said that his grandma did this. Is there any absolute proof that the George Washington came in and did this? There's not the pencil and paper, and Betsy Ross never said she was the first one. But it's a neat story. And, it could be, it's 50-50. It could be true, could not be true. I'm not really quite sure. The bottom line is you start off with a flag, and then you go from there and work with the different designs. Here's a question: why do we even need a flag back then?
To mark territory.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, you got a bunch of people out there shooting each other and whooping up on each other. How did they command the troops?
Flag with the drums.
With flags. Yeah, you look at the Revolutionary War and even the Civil War. They didn't have radios going, bring in the guys from the right, okay, guys from the left. No, they're doing flag signals. The Signal Corps, matter of fact, the Army guy even mentioned this. There's still a Signal Corps in the Army because they used to signal everybody with flags. Same thing with the Navy. Yes?
They have the little drummer boys, sir, which did exist. They would signal which armies to attack first.
There you go. So again, it's hard for us in today's world with all the communication we have to think about it, but flags and drums were kind of crazy. So right at the beginning, we had to have a flag to lead our troops. And you can see, look, it even came the first Navy ensign. Yes, we had an army way back then, but yes, we had a Navy because Britain ruled the world with the Navy, and we were concerned about that from point one. What does that flag look like right up there?
The British flag.
Ding, ding, ding. Another thing we stole from Britain, right? Here is 1794. Is that where is 1794 in our America's development? Is that before or after the Revolutionary War? This is 1794 is before the Revolutionary War.
Maybe.
When's the Revolutionary War?
1818.
1818. Nope. Thank you very much for playing. Try again.
1776.
1776 is the Revolutionary War, right? And we actually had the Constitution written in 1784 after we're independent. So this is a pretty good ways down the road. All of a sudden people start saying, hey, we need to have a flag. 15 stripes, 15 stars. And then this was also one of the flags that was held over Fort McHenry when the British came and invaded us for the British When did the British burn down the White House? When was the White House built? Long time ago. Did George Washington ever live in the White House?
No.
Where did he live?
His own house?
Where was the first capital of America?
Plymouth.
New York City.
Ding, 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 ding. Give me a high five. Good job. New York City. Where was the second capital of America?
Washington.
Thank you very much for playing. Try something else.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Good job. I was just there on Saturday. Yes, and you can walk right downtown and see the place where George Washington hung out. That was his Capitol building. And of course, they were building this capital city, which they had not named Washington, but they did. And then, of course, other than the legislative body, the Capitol, they had to build a place for the president to live, and they built the White House. In the War of 1812, the British came back and whooped up on us and burned down our White House. Okay, burned Washington as little as it was in 1812. And that attack on Washington, which also was an attack on Baltimore, which is right up the Chesapeake from it, inspired the Star-Spangled Banner. Paul Revere. No, Paul Revere was not in Washington with the burning of the flag. Well, tell me where Paul Revere was, guys. Y'all taking American history? Yes, sir.
He was in the Revolutionary War.
Revolutionary, great. 1776. What did he do?
He rode across the countryside announcing the British were about to invade.
Where did he live?
Philadelphia.
No. Thank you very much for playing. Try something else.
New York.
No.
Boston.
Boston. He was in Boston at the North Church. And he said, one if by two, what if one light, if by sea, two if by land, or something like that, right? And out of the North Church steeple, which is still there, you can go see it, and Paul Revere saw it and then ran across the countryside, which is all now suburbs. And
How many did he see?
he didn't see anything. He saw the lights in the North Church, and then he went out and signaled everybody else. And we won that battle, or we were prepared. Here's the back to the American flag. A captain of the United States Navy. They settled on 13 stripes, one for each of the founding colonies, and they added a star for each additional state. What was the last state added to the Union?
Alaska.
And Hawaii. It's 1959. When are those stars added to the flag? When's the birth date of the state?
Year that they were added?
And this is kind of a trick question. Perfect question for test, though.
July.
When is the birthday of Arizona? We just had our 100th anniversary. When is that?
1912.
Good. 1912. What day? February? Ding, 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 ding. So on February 14th, is that when we got our star on the flag? Nope. When did we get a star on the flag? Yay! Give me a high five there. Okay, so therefore, that is true. When we add stars to the flag, which hasn't happened in my lifetime, they're added on the July 4th of that year.
I wonder if they might take away the stars, just like when we're
We take away stars?
We're mad at you, North Dakota. Your punishment for a year.
Which states can break up into other states?
Texas.
Texas, why?
Because it's connected to.
Why?
It's connected to another country.
Nope, try it again.
The large population.
How did Texas get into America?
They fought for it against the Mexicans.
True, and we whooped them, and they decided to get into America, but what were they before they came into America?
Territory.
No. What were they?
Just land.
Indians.
Land.
Cows.
They were an independent country. The Texas Republic, before they decided their country should get into our country. Well, there was another state like this. What other state was this?
California.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes, good job. Thank you. I should have one of those dingers. I like the ding, ding, ding thing. All right, so the California Republic was a republic that joined America. So because those two states are republics, technically they can break up into states. And then, believe it, in my lifetime, and I want to say it was like the 1980s or so, a long time ago, there was a movement, there was a vote in California as to whether or not to break up into 3 different states. Northern California, Central California, Southern California. They did not do that because a lot of the wealth is in Central and Southern. Northern are a bunch of Bigfoots, right? Bigfoots, and also druggies, right? A lot of pot, and they don't have much money. So that made everybody mad that they would be poor and everybody else would be rich. And, oh, by the way, the oil and the gas and electricity is, all tied together. How do you split all that up? I don't think it'll ever happen, but that's something you can know.
How about Texas? Was that talk ever?
Never, because they like being big. And but guess what? Just recently in 2012, we had an election. Which territory of ours voted to get into America? Cuba's one of our territories, right? Let's go see Cuba on the weekend. No, what's the territory? It's close though.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yay! Puerto Rico, yes, Puerto Rico is it. That territory voted to join America. Does that mean we automatically let them have? No. Another territory, the District of Columbia, does have taxation without
representation.
They do have it. There's no representative from District of Columbia who can vote. There's an observer who goes into Congress and watches for the District of Columbia, but they don't vote and they don't count. And Puerto Rico, too, pays taxes, but they have taxation without representation. Guam is another that may come in your lifetime. They're real small, and they probably like being islands out there. But anyway, in your lifetime, I bet you we'll have another state one way or another. Very interesting. All right, so here we go. Yeah, last state's added, 50 states. And actually, matter of fact, when Puerto Rico voted that, my son Luke likes all this stuff. He actually sent me, there was immediately a new design of the flag, which would allow the new 51 states. That's pretty cool, huh? Yes?
We're sitting pretty at 50 stars. I want to see 52 or 51.
Why don't they just make Rhode Island part of Massachusetts?
Because Rhode Island's very proud. And they were one of the original ones. Tell you what, let me get through this section and I will tell you something even better. You guys need to know this. White, purity; red, hardness and valor; blue, vigilance, perseverance, and justice. American flag with 50 states. Did I tell you? Look at there. Our 50 states happened when? July 4th. 1960. So actually, I guess I lied. In my lifetime, I was born in December 59. So in my lifetime, we added one state. One state, one star. Okay? The other thing you need to realize is in the world, nobody reveres their flags like we do. Okay? You don't see French flags all over the world. You see American flags. And so we kind of have different traditions about standing up and saluting, the half-mast. That didn't happen in all the other worlds. Covering the dead servicemen's caskets with the flags. Other countries do not do that. We are kind of abnormal in that. Lots of rules governing the flags. Here's a question. Who can determine that our flag goes to half-mast?
The President.
United States.
Yes. Who else?
No one else.
The football coach. No. Who else? How about if a student dies and Ms. McCraley goes, put it at half-mast. Can she do that? No, technically not. The governor of each state for state deaths, or the President of the United States are the only two people in the only positions. We have done this at half-mast here. It is completely illegal, and I get in trouble every time, but I take the heat for Ms. McCraley. Yes?
Oh, so when a student dies here, is the governor notified, or do we have to send out a request?
I don't think.
We lie and we cheat. Questions? I mean, honestly, that's the truth. And every time our color guard goes out and does that, I have a veteran that knows the rules, and they'll call me up and say, well, I did not see on the official thing that the documentation there should be a half-mast, because it's never, a half-mast is never done at one spot. It's supposed to be the whole state or the whole country. And so, there you go.
I'm going to have to ask you to
Back?
do that again. I'm going to have to report.
You can report me and I'll send you up the chain. the bottom line was listen guys, when I was a kid, all the flags were cotton, like a t-shirt. You could not let them be out in the rain. Now they're nylon, and you can do it. If it's a cotton flag, you can't do it. It talks about being out in the rain. Schoolhouse, election days, when do we put them on? Marching in front of the flag. You got to, not put the flags on certain vehicles. Yes, sir.
Oh, I just thought it was something funny when you said the football coach. You know the briefcase the president carries around, the football?
Yes.
Technically, he is the football coach because he's the president.
That is really funny. It has a lot to do with flags. All right.
Because that's what you said.
Okay, Cadet Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Thursday. What is tomorrow?
Wednesday, the 30th.
We need to come back here Wednesday and finish up this stuff, okay? So we're going to come back here tomorrow. Remind me we're on number 24, okay? Cadet Walensky, why don't we come up here? Cadet Johnson, why don't you dismiss everybody?
Did you get the...
Play! Attend! Dismiss! Go,